The observation deck of the Galactic Federation's Grand Archive stretched across 3 kilometers of space, its crystalline walls designed to withstand the cosmic radiation from nearby stars. Within this sanctuary of knowledge, High Archivist Zira's tentacles rippled with concern as she studied the holographic data streaming before her. "Most fascinating," she whispered, her bioluminescent patches pulsing with excitement. The subject of her attention, a small blue planet in an unremarkable spiral arm of what locals called the Milky Way. Earth. For the past 3 standard cycles, the Archive's most sophisticated observation arrays had been focused on this emerging civilization. What they discovered defied all established patterns of species development. Administrator Thex must see this immediately, Zira decided, her neural interface already composing the priority message. Within moments, the administrator's angular form materialized in the observation deck, their crystalline exoskeleton refracting starlight in complex patterns. "This had better be significant, Archivist." Thex's harmonics resonated with mild irritation. "The Council of Spheres convenes in less than a rotation." Zira's tentacles danced across the holographic controls, bringing up a time-lapse display of human technological progress. "Observe their development curve, Administrator. In mere centuries, they'd progressed from rudimentary combustion engines to preliminary quantum computing. The standard evolutionary model suggests this should take millennia." Thex's crystalline form shifted, indicating intense interest. "Anomalous, certainly. But why the urgency?" Because of this, Zira expanded the display, showing multiple parallel development tracks. They don't advance linearly. When faced with obstacles, they don't simply overcome them. They develop multiple solutions simultaneously. Their failures don't slow them down. They seem to accelerate their progress. The display shifted to show human conflicts throughout history. Most concerning is their response to existential threats. Other species typically become more conservative, more cautious. Humans become more innovative, more daring. They don't just adapt, they transform. Administrator Thex absorbed the data in silence, their crystalline form pulsing with deep thought frequencies. "The Kraken Empire has established presence in that sector," they finally noted. Zira's tentacles coiled tightly, a sign of acute distress. "Precisely my concern. The Krakens follow the old ways, subjugate or destroy. Their assessments will show humans as primitive, an easy target. They won't understand what they're dealing with until it's too late." "For whom?" Thex's harmonic carried a note of dark humor. "For everyone." Zira brought up more data streams. "Look at their information processing patterns. They don't just learn from success, they learn faster from failure. The more pressure they face, the more rapidly they evolve. A Kraken invasion wouldn't subjugate them, it would catalyze them." In another sector of space, aboard the Kraken Empire's command ship Inevitable Dominion, War Master Krell received the Federation's warning about Earth with contempt. His scaled hands crushed the data crystal containing the message. "Primitive apes playing with rockets," he growled to his command staff. "The Federation grows soft, seeing threats in shadows." He brought up the tactical display of Earth's solar system. "Look at their defenses. Chemical rockets, primitive kinetic weapons, nuclear fission. They haven't even mastered basic gravity manipulation." His second-in-command, Submaster Vex, studied the displays with more reservation. "The Federation's warning specifically mentioned their adaptation rate, War Master. Perhaps we should conduct more thorough observations before." "Enough." Krell's tail lashed in irritation. "I won't have the Empire's military decisions questioned based on xenanthropologists' fantasies. Begin the invasion preparations. We'll take this system like we've taken 1,000 others." Back in the Grand Archive, Zira and Administrator Thex watched as the Kraken battle fleet assembled. The High Archivist's tentacles writhed in agitation. "We must do something. The Krakens don't understand. Humans don't think like other species. They don't see technology as something to acquire, but as something to reimagine. They don't accept limitations. They see them as challenges. Vex's crystalline form pulsed with resignation. The warning has been sent. The Krakens have made their choice. Now, their form shifted, focusing on the holographic display of Earth. Now we observe, and we prepare for a galaxy that may never be the same. As the first Kraken scout ships entered the solar system, humanity remained officially unaware of their approach. But in secret facilities across the globe, sensors detected the anomalies. In underground labs and hidden bunkers, humans did what they did best. They prepared, they innovated, and they refused to accept the impossible. The game was about to begin, and only one side understood the true rules of engagement. The Krakens thought they were launching a simple conquest. Instead, they were about to become the catalyst for humanity's greatest transformation and their own worst nightmare. War Master Krell stood on the command deck of the inevitable Dominion, his scaled hands clasped behind his back as he watched Earth grow larger on the main display. The first wave of his invasion fleet, 500 ships strong, moved into position with practiced precision. Their energy shields glimmered in the sunlight reflected from the planet's atmosphere. Primitive defense satellites detected. Submaster Vex reported, his claws dancing across the tactical console. They appear to be using basic radar and radio communications. No sign of quantum entanglement networks or gravitational sensors. Krell's mouth twisted into what passed for a smile among his species. Begin standard conquest protocols. Disable their communications infrastructure first. Let's see how these adaptable humans handle being blind and deaf. The first salvos from the Kraken fleet targeted Earth's satellite network. Energy beams lanced out, designed to overwhelm and destroy the primitive technology. But something unexpected happened. "Sir," Vex's voice carried a note of confusion. "The satellites, they're not being destroyed. They're changing." On the tactical display, the human satellites began shifting their configurations. What had appeared to be basic communication arrays transformed, revealing previously hidden components. The Kraken energy weapons, instead of destroying their targets, were being absorbed and redirected. "Impossible," Krell snarled. "Their technology level couldn't possibly." Multiple new energy signatures detected. Vex interrupted, his scales flaring in alarm. "The satellites are linking together, forming some kind of network. They're using our own weapon energy to power it." Across Earth's orbit, hundreds of seemingly primitive satellites revealed their true nature. They weren't just communication devices. They were nodes in a massive defensive grid, one that had been disguised to appear far less advanced than it actually was. In underground command centers across Earth, military leaders watched their plans unfold. General Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force allowed herself a small smile. "First lesson about humanity," she murmured. "We're really good at playing possum." The Kraken fleet's initial attack had fallen right into humanity's trap. For years, Earth had been launching what appeared to be ordinary communications satellites. In reality, each one contained experimental metamaterial technology designed to absorb and redirect energy weapons. Technology developed in secret after studying the faint traces of alien ships that had passed near Earth's solar system. "Second wave, commence attack," Krell ordered, his voice tight with rage. This time, the Kraken fleet launched their magnetic disruption weapons, devices designed to scramble any electronic systems within their range. But again, humanity had prepared. As the disruption waves spread out, thousands of tiny objects emerged from Earth's atmosphere. Too small to be ships, too numerous to track effectively, they swarmed through space like a cloud of metallic insects. "What are they?" Krell demanded. "Some kind of mechanical constructs," Vex replied, his voice uncertain. "They're individual units, but they're acting in concert. They're eating our disruption fields." The swarm of nanomachines, a technology humanity had developed by studying the microscopic structure of certain meteors, systematically dismantled the Kraken weapons at the quantum level, converting the energy into fuel for their own reproduction. In her command center, General Chen received the reports with satisfaction. Third lesson about humanity. We don't just copy technology, we reimagine it. Krull's rage grew as his initial attacks failed. Enough games. Begin planetary bombardment. Let's see how their clever tricks hold up against brute force. But as the Krakon ships moved to strike Earth directly, they encountered yet another surprise. The planet's atmosphere itself began to respond, forming strange patterns that deflected and dispersed their energy weapons. Weather control technology. Vex realized, his voice filled with disbelief. They've weaponized their own atmosphere. The truth was even more impressive. Humanity had developed a network of atmospheric processors disguised as climate control stations. These devices could manipulate weather patterns with incredible precision, creating electromagnetic shields that ripple through the atmosphere like aurora borealis. Final lesson. Chen transmitted on an open channel, knowing the Krakons would hear it. We don't just prepare for war, we transform our entire world into a weapon. As the first day of the invasion ended, War Master Krull faced an uncomfortable reality. The Federation's warning hadn't been xenopropological fancy. It had been a desperate attempt to prevent exactly what was now unfolding. His fleet, which had subjugated countless worlds, found itself unable to establish any meaningful foothold against Earth's defenses. Worse, with each failed attack, the humans seemed to be learning, adapting, improving their countermeasures in real time. They weren't just defending. They were evolving their defensive capabilities with each engagement. In the Grand Archive, Zyra and Administrator Thex watched the events unfold with a mixture of fascination and concern. They're even more remarkable than we anticipated, Zyra observed, her tentacles weaving complex patterns of excitement and worry. Indeed, Thex agreed. And this is only the beginning. The Krakons have done what we feared most. They've given humanity a reason to unite, to focus all their innovative potential on a single goal. As if to prove their point, new energy signatures began appearing around Earth, ships of human design, incorporating elements of technology that gleaned from studying the Krakon attacks. The counterattack was about to begin, and the galaxy was about to learn why the Federation's warning should have been heeded. The holographic displays aboard the inevitable Dominion flickered with damage reports as War Master Krull faced an uncomfortable truth. His invasion force was being systematically dismantled by what should have been an inferior species. But the true shock was yet to come. New contacts emerging from Earth's atmosphere, Submaster Vex announced, his scales pale with stress. Configuration unknown. They appear to be human vessels. The ships rising from Earth defied conventional design logic. Where Kraken vessels were uniform and standardized, each human ship seemed unique. They incorporated elements of the very technology used against them, but reimagined in ways that made Krull's scales itch with unease. Impossible, he growled. They couldn't have developed spacefaring technology so quickly. Our first attacks were mere days ago. But the evidence before him told a different story. The human vessels moved with surprising agility, their hulls seeming to shift and adapt as they approached. They weren't just copies of alien technology. They were hybridized creations that combined multiple technological principles in ways the Krakons had never considered. In her command ship Prometheus, General Chen watched the deployment of humanity's first true space fleet with fierce pride. Operation Mirror begins now, she transmitted to all Earth forces. Show them what humanity does with inspiration. The human counterattack demonstrated principles that stunned the Krakon tactical officers. Rather than focusing on overwhelming force, each human ship operated as part of a complex, adaptive network. When the Krakons adjusted their shield frequencies to block human weapons, the Earth vessels simply altered their attack patterns, using the shield's own energy signatures against them. They're not just fighting us, Vex realized, horror creeping into his voice. They're experimenting. Every attack is also a test, gathering data, learning our capabilities. He was right. Each engagement was being analyzed by quantum computers hidden in bunkers deep beneath Earth's surface. AI systems, developed through decades of video game design and military simulation, predicted Krycon responses with uncanny accuracy. Every failed attack became a lesson, every successful defense a template for improvement. In the Grand Archive, Zyra's tentacles writhed with excitement as she monitored the battle. "Look at their ship designs," she gestured to Administrator Thex. "They're incorporating elements from every major spacefaring civilization in their database, not just Krycon technology." "But how?" Thex's crystalline form pulsed with confusion. "They've only encountered the Krycon fleet." "The observation satellites," Zyra explained. "We thought they were primitive observation tools, but they were gathering data on every ship that passed through their solar system for decades. The humans were studying us long before we made official contact." The battle unfolding around Earth demonstrated this preparation. Human ships deployed countermeasures that seemed specifically designed for Krycon weapons, but their offensive systems showed influence from a dozen different alien technologies, all adapted and modified in uniquely human ways. "They're attacking the Zenith cruiser," Vex reported, his claws scrambling across the tactical display. The massive Krycon vessel, pride of their fleet, found itself surrounded by smaller human ships. But instead of opening fire, the Earth vessels released clouds of what appeared to be metallic dust. "Another futile trick," Krell sneered, but his confidence faltered as the dust cloud began to glow. The particles, engineered through advanced nanotechnology, weren't weapons in the conventional sense. They were microscopic factories, analyzing and replicating the most effective fragments of Krycon shield technology, even as they worked to disable it. Within minutes, the Zenith cruiser's supposedly impenetrable defenses began to fail. The human ships hadn't just defeated the shield technology. They'd improved upon it. Their own defensive systems flickered with new patterns, incorporating the analyzed data in real time. "This is why we warned the Krykons," Vex observed from the archive. "Humans don't just learn from technology. They reimagine its fundamental principles. Each encounter makes them stronger, more innovative." The truth of this observation became devastatingly clear as the battle progressed. Human ships began demonstrating capabilities that hadn't existed at the start of the engagement. They adapted their tactics faster than the Krycon command could respond, turning each failed alien attack into an opportunity for advancement. "We're detecting quantum entanglement signatures from their fleet," Vex reported, his voice shaking. "They've reverse-engineered our communications technology, but they're using it differently. Their entire fleet is acting as a single networked entity." Krell watched in mounting horror as his invasion force was systematically outmaneuvered and overwhelmed. The humans weren't just defending their world, they were using the invasion as a catalyst for technological revolution. Each engagement pushed their capabilities further, faster than any species development model could have predicted. In the Prometheus's command center, General Chen received reports of the battle's progress with grim satisfaction. "Send word to all Earth forces," she ordered. "Phase 2 begins now. Show them why humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our creativity." As her words echoed through the human fleet, new weapons platforms emerged from concealment behind Earth's moon. These weren't conventional weapons. They were proof that humanity had learned lessons the Krykons never could have anticipated, and were about to demonstrate why underestimating Earth had been the greatest mistake in the Empire's history. The lunar surface blazed with sudden light as humanity's hidden weapons platforms revealed themselves. But what emerged wasn't what the Krycon fleet expected. Instead of conventional weapon arrays, massive crystalline structures rose from the moon's surface, their surfaces swooning with complex patterns of energy. "What are they?" War Master Krell demanded, his tail lashing with agitation as the structures oriented toward his fleet. Submaster Vex studied his readings with growing confusion. "They appear to be gravity manipulation arrays, but the design is like nothing in our database. They're combining principles from multiple technological paradigms in ways that shouldn't be possible." The truth was even more remarkable than the Krykons realized. Humanity hadn't just studied alien technology. They'd fundamentally reimagined its basic principles. The lunar platforms weren't weapons in the traditional sense. They were reality manipulation engines, combining gravitational science with quantum field theory in ways that defied conventional understanding. Execute Operation Singularity, General Chen commanded from the Prometheus. The lunar arrays hummed to life, creating overlapping fields of distorted space-time that turned the battlefield itself into a weapon. Krekon ships found their carefully plotted attack formations disrupted by localized gravity wells. Their energy weapons, designed to travel in straight lines, curved and twisted in impossible ways. Even their FTL drives, the pride of Krekon technology, became unreliable as space itself seemed to ripple and fold around them. Impossible, Krell whispered, watching his fleet's formation dissolve into chaos. Their technological level, they couldn't have developed this so quickly. But in the Grand Archive, Zyra understood what the Krekons couldn't. They didn't develop it quickly, she explained to Administrator Thex. They developed it differently. Where other species build upon existing principles, humans question the principles themselves. They don't just ask, how does this work? But why does this work this way? And could it work differently? The battle around Earth had become more than a military engagement. It was a demonstration of fundamentally different approaches to technological advancement. The Krekon Empire, like most galactic civilizations, viewed technology as a linear progression. Each advancement built upon previous ones in predictable ways. Humans, however, approached technology like an art form. They combined disparate elements, questioned basic assumptions, and weren't afraid to fail spectacularly in pursuit of breakthrough innovations. Each failure taught them something new, and they learned faster from failure than from success. New energy signatures detected. Vex's voice cracked with stress. The humans are deploying some kind of biomechanical constructs. Swarms of what appeared to be living machines emerged from Earth's atmosphere. These weren't simple drones or automated weapons. They were a fusion of organic and mechanical engineering, capable of learning and adapting in real time. Each one contained a quantum neural network modeled on human brain patterns, giving them a creativity that no purely artificial system could match. This is why we warned them, Thex observed, their crystalline form pulsing with complex emotions. Humans don't just advance technology. They transform it. They see possibilities where others see limitations. The biomechanical swarms demonstrated this principle as they engaged the Krekon fleet. They didn't just attack. They analyzed, adapted, and evolved. When Krekon ships adjusted their shields, the swarms reconfigured their approach. When the aliens deployed countermeasures, the swarms incorporated the new data into their own evolution. In her command center, General Chen watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "Begin Phase 3, she ordered. "Show them what happens when humanity stops playing defense." The response came not just from Earth's forces, but from seemingly empty regions of space. Stealth ships, their existence hidden until now, decloaked in perfect position to strike at the Krekon fleet's vulnerabilities. These vessels represented humanity's interpretation of stealth technology, not mere optical camouflage, but true quantum state manipulation that rendered them functionally non-existent until the moment they chose to appear. "They're not just beating us," Vex realized, his scales pale with fear. "They're rewriting the rules of warfare itself." He was right. Each human innovation demonstrated not just technological advancement, but a fundamental reimagining of what was possible. Their ships didn't just fight. They evolved. Their weapons didn't just destroy. They transformed. Their defenses didn't just protect. They adapted. The Krekon invasion force, which had begun the battle supremely confident in their technological superiority, found themselves facing an enemy that didn't just match their capabilities but transcended them. Every tactic they had developed over centuries of warfare proved inadequate against an opponent that refused to fight according to established rules. "Full retreat," Krell finally ordered, his voice heavy with defeat. "Fall back to the rally point. We must warn the Empire." But as the Krakon ships attempted to disengage, they discovered one final surprise. The human fleet wasn't pursuing them. Instead, they were herding them, using their gravity manipulation technology to create corridors of stable spacetime amid the chaos they had generated. They're not just letting us retreat, Vex observed with dawning comprehension. They're showing us exactly how much control they have over the battlefield. This isn't just a victory for them, it's a demonstration. In the Grand Archive, Zyra's tentacles wove patterns of profound understanding. This is why we feared this confrontation, she said, not because humanity would lose, but because victory would show them their true potential. The galaxy will never be the same. The Grand Archive's central chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives from every major galactic civilization gathered to discuss the implications of what many were now calling the Earth Incident. The crystalline walls reflected the bioluminescence of countless species, creating a shifting aurora of light and color. High Archivist Zyra's tentacles moved in patterns of deep concern as she addressed the assembly. "The data is clear," she announced, bringing up a holographic display of Earth's technological progression over the past month. What we witnessed wasn't just a military victory. It was the emergence of something unprecedented in galactic history. The display showed the evolution of human technology during and after the Krakon invasion. Each innovation built upon the last, not in linear progression, but in explosive bursts of creative development. Where other species might take centuries to fully understand and implement new technological principles, humans had done it in weeks. They didn't just defeat the Krakon Empire's invasion force, Administrator Thex added, their crystalline form pulsing with emphasis. They fundamentally changed how that technology worked. Look at their ships now. The hologram shifted to show Earth's new defense fleet. The vessels bore little resemblance to either human or Krakon designs. They were something entirely new, organic shapes that seemed to flow and adapt, incorporating principles from dozens of different technological traditions in ways that shouldn't have been possible. From his position of shame at the back of the chamber, War Master Krell watched with scales dulled by defeat. "We thought we were launching a simple conquest," he admitted. "Instead, we gave them exactly what they needed, a catalyst for innovation. That's what makes them different," Zyra explained. "Most species advance through gradual refinement. Humans advance through challenges. The greater the pressure, the faster they evolve." The assembly stirred uneasily as she brought up new data. Human ships have been spotted at the edges of various civilizations' territories, not attacking or threatening, but observing, learning. Each encounter, no matter how brief, seemed to spark new innovations in their technology. "They're not just copying what they see," a quantum collective representative observed, their energy form flickering with fascination. "They're imagining what could be. Each technology they encounter becomes a starting point for something new." In Earth's orbital shipyards, this process was already visible. Human engineers worked alongside artificial intelligences of their own design, creating vessels that combined principles from a dozen different civilizations in ways that their original inventors had never imagined. But it wasn't just military technology. They were applying the same innovative approach to medicine, energy production, and environmental restoration. "We're receiving a transmission from Earth," announced a communications specialist. The holographic display shifted to show General Chen, now serving as Earth's representative to the galactic community. "We understand your concerns," she began without preamble. "You're watching our rapid advancement and wondering what it means for the established order. Let me be clear, we're not interested in conquest or domination. We're interested in possibilities." The display behind her showed human ships helping to evacuate a Krakon colony threatened by its dying sun. The vessels, incorporating principles from both Krakon and human technology, were able to stabilize the star long enough for a full evacuation, something neither civilization could have accomplished alone. "This is what we offer the galaxy," Chen continued. "Not just new technology, but new ways of thinking about technology. Not just solutions, but new ways of finding solutions. In the weeks following what became known as the awakening of Earth, the galaxy witnessed something unprecedented. Rather than establishing a traditional empire, humanity began setting up what they called innovation hubs, spaces where representatives from any civilization could come to collaborate, share ideas, and reimagine what was possible. "They're changing everything," Zyra observed to Thex as they watched ships from a dozen different civilizations dock at one such hub. "Not through conquest or domination, but through imagination. And that's why our warning to the Krakons was so crucial," Thex replied. "We didn't warn them to protect humanity. We warned them because we knew humanity would survive the attack, and in surviving would realize their true potential." The implications rippled through galactic society. Long-established technological hierarchies began to shift as humanity's approach to innovation spread. Species that had been stagnant for millennia found themselves inspired to question old assumptions, to imagine new possibilities. In the end, the Krakon Empire's attempt to subjugate Earth hadn't just failed. It had inadvertently triggered a technological and cultural renaissance that would reshape the galaxy. The humans had emerged not as conquerors, but as catalysts, challenging every civilization they encountered to imagine something more than what they had been. As Zara updated the archive's records, she added a final note. In their attempt to suppress humanity, the Krakon Empire accomplished something remarkable. They helped humanity discover not just their potential for advancement, but their capacity to lift others up with them. The galaxy will never be the same, and perhaps that's exactly what it needed.